I clearly remember the first time I was told that manufacturing isn't for someone who dresses like me. And I'm very thankful for the people who persuaded me to continue my interest in getting into this field and telling me otherwise.
Hello, and welcome back to The Optimistic Outlook. I'm Lauren Espin, once again stepping in as your narrator for this next chapter of the podcast. On our last episode, we heard from Barry Powell and a remarkable panel of manufacturing leaders about the future of the workforce and what it takes to bring more women into the field. It was a powerful reminder that optimism is as much about action as it is about attitude. We continue that same theme today as we're joined by Sidra Maryam, Change and Technology Manager at Siemens Smart Infrastructure Manufacturing Hub in Grand Prairie, Texas. Sidra is a leader whose journey into manufacturing and the success she's forged along the way highlights what's possible when opportunity, visibility, and mentorship align. Guiding the conversation once again is Barry Powell, Regional CEO and President of Siemens Electrical Products, as we continue to explore how the industry can build a more inclusive and innovative future.
Hi, Sidra. Thanks for joining us on the Optimistic Outlook today.
Hi, Barry. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell our audience a little bit about your career journey to a job in the manufacturing industry? Was a career in manufacturing an intentional choice for you, or is this something that you entered into by chance?
I definitely entered into it by chance. I never knew that manufacturing was a space that could be for me. The first exposure I had to manufacturing and operations was in college, as I learned more about industrial engineering from one of my friends, and it sounded very fascinating to me. The focus on processes and being able to do something that has a physical impact. And once I learned that it was something that I wanted to try out, I pursued my first internship in manufacturing with Siemens, actually, and fell in love with operations, the authenticity that people bring in production, in manufacturing, and the fulfillment that you get by seeing tangible results of your efforts. So after my internship, when I graduated, I got into the operations leadership development program with Siemens. Worked at 4 different sites across the US in different roles. Often was the only woman in those roles, and the only person in the development program in that moment, and got to learn about different parts of the business, the different roles, and the opportunities that manufacturing offers. And after finishing the program, decided that that is where I want to stay.
So, Sidra, it sounds like starting out process was something that you attracted you to manufacturing, but also the people side and I'll say tangible results of the work. Um, how do these three things tie into your job today, and which one's maybe the most important?
So I am a change and technology manager at our manufacturing site, and technology is as much about tech as it is about people. I always tell my team that you can probably find a technology that exists to solve most of your problems, if not all. But it is the people side that makes it more challenging to implement and to completely utilize. So I think it plays a very important role. And it's critical that we understand how we need to develop our workforce and our people along the way as we are getting more and more advanced in our technologies.
But I know in this journey you had maybe a naysayer that told you, "Hey, you can't make it in manufacturing." Can you explain to the audience here how you pushed past that and built your career?
So I remember this gentleman that I met at a resume review when I was in college. And after reviewing my resume, he mentioned to me that he asked me what my interests were. And when I mentioned manufacturing, he told me that I don't think that manufacturing is a space for you because you wear a headscarf. And to him, he mentioned, oh, it would be a safety hazard. I don't think that environment is built for the way you dress. And it was heartbreaking to hear that. because before, I have always had very supportive family, very supportive friends, and no one has ever told me something I can't do, right? So this was the first time hearing somebody tell me that, and it was something that I thought I was going to build my career in that field. After having some initial doubts, I almost believed him, but then I also wanted to find out from other people who are in that field. I found an alum who I knew went into the manufacturing field. I called him and I asked him, "Hey, I was just told this by somebody in this industry, in these professions, and what do you see when you are working in operations?" First of all, he got very upset for me. He was angry that I was given this information and assured me that he had seen all types of people, right, from all backgrounds, all walks of life, work and flourish in manufacturing, and I should not be paying attention to it. I went and talked to a couple more people after that that assured me that I should not be giving up, right? And this is definitely a place where I belong and I can be. I took opportunities to prove myself. I built my brand based off of my work and let it speak for itself. But all of this would have still not been possible if I didn't have the mentors and advocates that I found along the way.
And I know, there's ups and downs in careers here, but was there a light switch moment where you realized, yes, I belong here. I can do this despite the challenges you've had?
I think my first internship in manufacturing. And I remember this moment where I was able to get through a rather difficult personality, and my manager was really surprised that I was able to, build that bridge and get them on board. And I think that is the first time I realized that I could do it and I could do it well.
What advice would you give to a young woman considering manufacturing as a career path, but maybe questioning whether she'll be welcomed?
Find a mentor. Find a mentor who works in that industry if you can. Learn from them, ask them questions. Bring your own chair to the table and let the people make space for you.
And do you feel that, people seeing more female leaders like yourself in the manufacturing industry is making a difference to get more women to start out in manufacturing careers, especially for Siemens?
I know for sure it has. For example, when my last promotion was announced, I received several emails from women in Siemens that I had never met before. I remember the one that mentioned that it was impactful for her to see me getting rewarded for my hard work. I've been approached at conferences, LinkedIn, at work, within my site, and from other sites, and the same theme applies, which is seeing is believing. She has done it. I can do it too.
So you've had a huge impact attracting women to the field. Maybe the next question is, what have you seen organizations do well to keep women in the field? And maybe where do they miss the mark even today?
Flexibility. I think the successful ones offer flexibility while the other ones do not. For example, about I was reading the study, and about 18% of the women who return to work after maternity leave work completely because businesses aren't offering the flexibility that they need at that stage in their life. And that doesn't even include the 40% that don't return, right? And part of that is also that they don't think that they'll be able to balance it all. And second would be career growth and progression, providing them the opportunities while keeping that flexibility in mind.
And I personally have a wife who went through that in a manufacturing career, and flexibility is a key. I guess big picture though, if you could launch one bold initiative to increase the percentage of women in manufacturing, what would it be?
Childcare at our manufacturing sites. The manufacturing environment is sometimes unpredictable, right? I think many times the inflexibility comes from the fact that you have to be on site during certain hours while production is running. But at the same time, you have responsibilities outside of it, right? So you have to drop off your children, you have to pick them up. Somebody's sick, you may have to leave early, and I've been fortunate enough to have family who moved to Texas actually. so that they could support me. But there have been many instances when that is not available and makes it very difficult to, find childcare last minute, or having to manage, pickups and drop-offs in locations that are not on your way. So I think if we have that option available for women returning from maternity leaves, it might increase the percentage that actually ends up staying in manufacturing because they have that option available, and also give them a peace of mind. And that, directly results in happier employees who perform better.
Sidra, thanks for sharing that idea, and that's something we probably should look at as a leadership team. Uh, Definitely a huge time savings opportunity there, and would make the day a lot more flexible. So, Sidra, I think you made mention of internship and then our leadership development programs at Siemens. Can you share your experience and what are the key components of the leadership development program?
I had a fantastic experience in the leadership development programs. Coming out of college, you may have some idea of what you want to do and where you want to be, but you also don't know all the opportunities that are available. That rotational program gave me the option to explore, learn what I like, as well as learn what I don't like, right? So and give me all these learnings in a very condensed time frame, right? So within 2 years, working in 4 different roles across 4 different locations, I learned many of my preferences, right? What I enjoy. So that was a big part of why that was important to me. The second was networking, and the relationships that I formed in those 2 years, again, in plants across the US. There are still people that I check in with every now and then, or I run into them at different Siemens events or trainings. And it is, I would have not have the opportunity to build those connections if it wasn't for the program.
And so you got exposed, in a 2-year program, 4 different factories, a lot of different people. I know the one other key component of the development program is what we call leadership weeks that we have once every 6 months. Are there any particular skills or events and leadership weeks that helped bring you to where you're at today?
Yes, the leadership weeks exposed us to being able to present ourselves in situations where there is, senior management present, hone in on our skills, hone in on our public speaking skills, and communicating, whatever we had done in the last 6 months in our assignment, in a clean and clear way to people, from across the business, and also to be able to learn what others have been doing. So I learned a lot from the locations that I went to, but then I also learned a lot from the things that other people have been doing because of these leadership weeks. I had formed, that's the first time I met you, Barry, 13 years ago, was at Leadership Week. So it is also, and several other senior management today, right? So it is great to have that connection that goes all the way back to over a decade ago. And then, for all of us to be growing together in the company at different levels.
Mentorship and peer support are often career shaping. I guess when you were getting started in manufacturing, did you have key mentors or allies who helped get you started on the journey, and what was their impact on you?
I clearly remember the first time I was told that manufacturing isn't for someone who dresses like me. And it was uh, it was heartbreaking at the time, and I was very close to believing that person because I also never saw anyone who looked like me at the career fairs, at networking events. So it was difficult to not dismiss the comment because it kind of seemed true. But I went on and found mentors, found people who had seen more than this person had, talked to them about what manufacturing is like and whether they also see this as an obstacle. And I'm very thankful for the people who persuaded me to continue my interest in getting into this field. and telling me otherwise than what this person has told me. Along the way, I have formed great relationships with mentors. I have found allies and advocates for me who have enabled me to pursue my interests, right? And created opportunities for me that did not exist before, right? So, for example, my current role, the role before this one, and the role before this one did not exist before I came into those positions. And it was only possible because I had people who believed in me that I could create something from scratch and make it successful for the business.
Consider we're very fortunate you overcame some of the challenges from that gentleman and have been very, very successful for us. Can you share a bit your role in recruiting for manufacturing talent at Siemens? Because I know we've made a conscious effort to show, a diversity of different backgrounds and the people that we bring in our recruiting events.
Yes, I have volunteered at recruiting events before. So going back to my alma mater, to Penn State, I have been part of the recruiting teams. I am an ambassador for Siemens brand on LinkedIn. So for me, I speak about it in whichever settings I'm in. I have a I'm passionate about sharing my story, um, so that it can reach more people who right now may feel that they are underrepresented or may think that this space does not belong to them.
We traditionally end the optimistic outlook with an optimistic question. So, Sidra, what makes you optimistic about the next decade for women in manufacturing?
If I look at the beginning of the last decade for me, when I had started my career in manufacturing, about 10% of the plant management at my current site was female. It's 30% right now. And you had also mentioned at the WIM conference that we attended together that this year we had a 50% representation in the incoming class of our leadership development program. So I'm excited about the opportunities that these women will create together and the doors that they will open for more to come and build upon what they have done. I'm excited about how technology will create many roles that are close to production, close to manufacturing, yet can still be performed in a hybrid environment, if not fully remote. And that allows more flexibility as needed by whatever stage of life you're in.
Great. Sidra, thanks for sharing your point of view and your story today and your optimistic outlook for the future.
Thanks, Barry.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Optimistic Outlook. Be sure to tune in for more conversations with leaders shaping technology for a better tomorrow. Please subscribe to The Optimistic Outlook wherever you listen to your podcasts, and be sure to share the podcast with a friend or colleague.